How the love got cold. I don't know. How my friends turn to fold. I don't know. 40 in, it's how it go. What you six? Yeah. Better know it. Times change. People change. They gon' change. They gon' love you, then they hate you. Yeah, it's strange. Yeah, that's right. Sell you out for some change. Yeah. They go crazy for that money. They the range. Hey. Lord forgive them, cause they know now what they do. Messing with a prince, they ain't even got a clue. They don't blind them with the light when they see me coming through. And a hater couldn't stress me, tell them this ain't nothing new. Watch your back, better watch. Watch your back, better watch. Keep the circle tight, dog, never slack, never loose. Do your friends, do you know? Got your back. I know the ones around me, yeah, I'm keeping track. How the love got cold. I don't know. How my friends turn to fold. I don't know. 40 in, it's how it go. What you six? Yeah. Better know it. How the love got cold. I don't know. How my friends turn to fold. I don't know. 40 in, it's how it go. What you six? Yeah. Better know. Yeah. Never take a word. Show me how you getting down. Yeah. Is you with it when a man up and when he down? You around for the.
All right, let's do some Q&A in the MIA real quick. All right, I'm going to try to answer the best questions first, and then the shorter ones get to those last. Here's one. Exactly how does the World Council of Christian Churches and the Roman Catholic Church conspire to keep the truth from being told? Good question. Give me that in Psalms 83. Psalm chapter 83, and I want to get straight to the point, because we got questions, right? I'm going to try to get through as many as possible. Psalms 83, and let's read verse 3 through 5.
Psalms chapter 83 and verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thine hidden ones.
So it answers your question in verse 3. It says they taking crafty counsel. Counsel is where they sit down, they discuss round tables. World Council of Churches is separate from Roman Catholic, but Roman Catholic Church started with the whole white Jesus doctrine, and then it just filtered down. World Council of Churches, they just took it over and turned it into an Americanized version of it. But they've counseled against thy hidden ones. Read on.
Verse 4.
This is the counsel that they took. Read.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
So you ask, how do they conspire to keep the truth from being told? In their councils, they purposely skip over the doctrine of Israel being saved. Right now, all of you who all went to Christian church, and it was the dominant what you would say doctrine in your Christian church was that Israel shall be saved and no one else, by showing hands. That's how they did it right there. Because when you go to those churches, they remove the name of Israel and they turn it into all nations. They turn it into Gentiles being grafted in. These are the things that are sent out in their booklets that they have. T.D. Jakes, Creflo, Joel Osteen, Juanita Bynum, they all got booklets that they teach from that has certain topics and a way they are supposed to teach it. And the main way they do it is that make sure that under the New Testament, the New Covenant, you teach that all people can be saved, not just Israel. That's how they conspire together to remove that. Read verse 4 again.
Verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
And you see it through the doctrines. That's why, I don't know about y'all, but me, the Lord blinded my eyes. I went to church with my granny all the time. 20 years, I never saw the word Israel in the Bible. And I would look at it. I would read. I wouldn't even pay attention to the pastor. I would just literally flip through the Bible and just read it myself as he was. He would do all of that. I was reading. I never once seen the word Israel. Read verse 5.
Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent, They are confederate against thee.
That's how they did it. The World Council of Churches. There's one more I can't think of either. World Council of Churches, and there's something else too. Roman Catholic Church is one. But go to Ephesians chapter 6 real quick. So they get together, round tables, they counsel this. This is why you have throughout different time periods, different false doctrines that are pushed down, coming from that on down. Back in the day, there's something, what they call it, conversion doctrine or something like that. It's some kind of doctrines that it's new things on the earth. Like when some of y'all that are older than me, when you was in the church, there wasn't taught that God loves everybody, even sodomites. That was new. You never heard that. You was told you better don't bring them to church, is what was taught. And if they do come to church, they better keep that stuff in the closet and do whatever they want to. It was word on the street that Billy Bob was messing around with Jerome. That was on the streets. But when he came in here, he put on a suit and whatever and act like he had some sense. Now the doctrine is God loves everybody and he accepts everybody. And Moses taught that laying with another man was wrong because it was a patriarch society. Those are the things that they push now. That is the crafty counsel. Ephesians 6, and let's read verse 12.
Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
That's Paul prophesying about what will become to known as World Council of Churches. He's not saying it verbatim what it's called, because this is visions that he's got, and it's way before the stuff was even thought of, before the people was on the earth. Just like America is not America in the Bible, it's Babylon, because when they saw it, it was just straight and utter confusion. Men that are now women, women are now men, boys are now gender fluid, women wearing pants. They was like, looked at it like, damn, this is straight confusion. This is Babylon. This is Babel. So they didn't call it America. It was called Babylon. The same thing with what we read here. Spiritual wickedness in high places would go into that World Council of Churches, the Roman Catholic Church. It would also go into, I think it's World Denomination. Something denomination church. You have to look it up. I can't think of what it is. But it's got something to do with denominations. But read that again, verse 12.
Verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
That's your governments. Go ahead.
Against spiritual wickedness in high places.
That would go into your church things that push. If you don't believe it, go to a Christian bookstore one day and ask them for the pastor teaching section, and they'll point you to it. And I guarantee, because I went there before, they have books on what you're supposed to teach, how you're supposed to teach. They got a book on marriage that, how y'all some of y'all that stood there and that pastor lied to you and said, do you take them to be your love letter? That ain't nowhere in the Bible. But you thought it was Bible because they stood there with something in their hand and they was reading it. That comes from the spiritual wickedness in high places. Mesh this together, mesh this together, mesh this together. For all of you all that, what was that little prayer you used to say when you was a young kid? Now lay me down to sleep. Look at that. All of them shook their head. Look at you. You know it. That stuff come from them. That's not in the Bible. They meshed a bunch of stuff together and said, this is how you pray. All of that stuff comes from them and is pushed down through the Christian bookstores, through the pastors, through booklets, all of that type stuff. All right? So that's how they do it.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone, 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.